And that's a very long story, and I will ask Jane. So maybe one day we'll just do a show on that. In any event, the pills that I was given were to age, progress, and regress me, and get me in the systems where we would do unbelievably nefarious things, and I'll do my best to get through some of them, but it's a very long subject. One of the agendas was to, because of my abilities, like you, to know what time and space is, even at a young age. They don't really care about your age. Because I could go see through my knowing a location in the inner universe and the multiverse, that's what they wanted. They can't get out of the universe. They can't go to the other dimensions. And so they're constantly trying to get to the other dimensions. And that's all we're here for, by the way, is to stop us from ascending. They can't get out of here, and that's why we give them hope. How do they do it? That's all that's going on here. And how do we stop them from leaving? That's period what the agenda is on planet Earth. And there's many people that know this information. And that's why I keep my identity as close as I can, because as soon as I come out and you know this information, they'll whip out pictures and puppy dogs being kicked by me, or who knows what else. So they turned me into, and many others, they turned me into a professional astronaut that's not even close to what I was. So remove astronaut from your definition of how you travel through hyperspace, because you do it through an envisionment and knowing process. And that's why all the ships that can travel interdimensionally instantly are done through a living being. So all these vessels have the ability to attach organically to our spirit, for the ease of conversation. Predominantly what I was driving, it's not the term we use, but just for the ease of conversation, predominantly what I was driving was cargo vessels full of humans, alive and genetics. Those genetics are the fuel for the darks. They have many different uses, and they're the monetary system for this planet, for the darks, and abroad. So the problem they had with me is I have a bigger agenda. I have to see what's going on here. So remember, I started with the Galactic Federation. Why is it so tough down here? Well, maybe you better go see for yourself was the end of the conversation. Okay, I'm gonna. And so to go through that program, knowing full well I could get out of it, I had to see how, why, what, where, because it's just so vast what they're doing here. So, of course, they had trouble keeping me in we'll call it the sedation of not knowing I'm me, because when you go to drive the vessels, they take the leash off you. So my handler, much like my stepfather's capabilities, Mr. Pavik, my handler was an alien who could manage my thoughts before I even started a thought. So if I went to hit him, he'd already have hit me before I even got my hand to move, as an example. They know they read your mind so quickly. It's even before you can, because they've made you slower than them on purpose. So our spirit is much faster than theirs, more capable of theirs, because we're multidimensional beings. They're not. But in the vessel we're in, they have more capabilities, and they've used the DNA to expand their capabilities. And by the way, they have all their memories back. And most of them live hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, but when they get back in another body, they have all those memories too. And so they're very good at this. In any event, they had trouble with me because I'm a light being, I'm not a physical being, although I'm participating in a physical body. They had trouble with me because I would always pop out of it. Okay. So anyway, what they would do is they backlog. So I go back into the reality of being the child again at school, and now I have memories of that experience. What I just told you, that memory looks like I went to downtown with all my other peers, and we went to the Wizard of Oz play. Okay, so they filled my head full of field trips. Okay, shit, we got to get them back. Okay, I flunked the test again. back into the single teacher. Hey, get your candy pills. Do you remember what the average temperature of a human is? Yes. Okay, 78.3. All right. Okay. All right, and away I go again. Okay, so that goes on for probably 2 years, and each time I'm gone, I would say that was probably somewhere around roughly 10 to 15 years. But because they can cut and paste time, my family, of course, doesn't know it, and nobody around in my surroundings knows it. So they take you right back, and we'll talk about that technology in the future. In the future, if you get it, my favorite joke, of course, is I used to be a time traveler, and so that's essentially what they were using for, because they know I am a time traveler, although that's not the definition I would use. It's not my preferred. So they know I have the time traveling capability. They know others of us have it. And that's what they were adopting then. Okay. When that wasn't successful, concurrently, they are doing their best to understand how source comes into a physical body but doesn't reside here. And a lot of people use higher consciousness. Why we're multidimensional beings and they're not. So all of it is always being observed as I've trapped a multidimensional being, and I can get him to do tricks. And so that's how it works. And this is predominantly was run through the CIA. And so the CIA would infiltrate the education system. The education system was designed to be infiltrated and mold you into what they wanted. And of course, the underworld is the one directing this, and we will go into detail about the underworld. When they get tuckered out with me, that's when the torture started. So they know they can't kill me, and they get a lot of bang for the buck on the dark side by seeing us tortured. And I'll go into that because they can use it for a lot of different things. So when they kill me, they'll do it in a dramatic way. They don't anymore. I've been killed 4 times this year, by the way, if we look at it by annum anyway. So they know that if we have a portion of our Merkaba looking at a portion of our genetics, wanting to be in it, they can't kill us. And that goes for everybody. But that's a very long subject. But as a light being, it's more instantaneous for me. So in any event, I guess I better get tired of saying that. I got to find some new words here. The tortures look a lot like this, and I still have a lot of scars regarding them because I can observe the past, and I don't hang on to the past, and I encourage everybody to exercise with that. But I need to examine it so that I can get you the information. So I want you all to know that some of this information is going to be real tough, and if you don't want to hear it, it's tough information. When you see stories called the Biden laptop or Nancy Pelosi's laptop, I want you to replace that with the underworld. And here's what a portion of the underworld looked like when I was being tortured because I was misbehaving. I wouldn't do tricks anymore, so to speak, because I know I'm time traveling. They know I could see that I could take them into time. I could take them to where they wanted to see and predict the future. And or time travel is not based on the measurement of time. It's based on the measurement of knowing, understanding the knowing of, in this case, the culture of here or the culture somewhere else, knowing the direction that we're all going. So if we want to go to a coordinate in time, so you see some of the remote viewers, they're really close to getting it right. But knowing it's there is what they used me for. So I misbehaving. So if I know, because they know I've been to 2150, if I know where we're going, now they could change and manipulate all the way up to the timelines going forward. So there's a competition against the aliens cutting and pasting time and the three-letter agencies that are doing their best to control the outcomes of many different timelines. It's very, very vast subject, but that's one of the reasons they hunted us all in these programs. Hang on just a second.
Mm-hmm.
I get tired of hearing myself talk, so I have to put some liquid in me. Anyway, as we go into the torture sections, it's really just a form of harassment. And because they know they can't kill us, we live forever. We all do. We're all walk-ins. We're all magnificent gods and goddesses, as you've heard Billy say. She's got it right. The tortures look something like this. Even today, it's difficult for me to take my shirt off, even though I've been fairly fit and not embarrassed of my body whatsoever. But they would they cut the entire front of my skin off. And so they take all the skin off of you and then let you die slowly with chemicals, prodding, all sorts of things to get you not only to share the information you have, but to watch you when you die from the physical body. They're doing their best to trap it. So they believe the traumas are something they can use and record into another physical body. That's their great trick. They take that luge of the torture, and they watch the light column go out of the body and back in, and they can't figure it out because we're multidimensional beings. But they've been here so long, and they're so tired of being here. They think they can be us, and they don't know how it works. Okay, they want to get back to the God source. And once they get someone like me, Ron Amatron as well was tortured brutally. Princess Diana, another light being. When they do the torture, they get two bangs for the buck. They get to watch everything coming and going, and they get the trauma. Okay, so what do they do with the trauma section? Let's say you killed me and you tortured me first, and then you used my blood. What they and plasm and genetics, whatever they want, they can take that, and now that epigenetic recording in the trauma is now given to another being in which they're breeding. So the clone factories that exist on this planet are vast. And now if I want to make another human being, I can clone it, and then because they can map the genetic sequencing, and or they know exactly how the Merkaba, the light body, comes into the physical body. Okay, so as a spirit, you have a goal just like mine here. You really want to get here and take the dark out of here and bring back this planet to the light. Okay, so we can't help ourselves. We love doing it. We're master creators. We're going to take care of this. Well, these aliens have gotten ahead of us, because they know how to map the inspiration of the Merkaba's geometry to a physical body. They're experts at it. They're genetic geniuses. And so your desire to be in this geometric pattern and participate here is what they're watching happening over and over and over again. Okay, so an example of a human clone is what you're seeing now all over the planet. Do not take this as a negative thing, because there is a very happy ending at the end of this. but most people only have about 20% of their light body in them. When I say most, I'm saying 95%, because of the genetic engineering here and the epigenetic mapping and molding. So the reason for this is we're getting too savvy, because as the human being grows and grows, the DNA does, and the light body wiggles its way and expands it like a flower. I've talked about this in the past. And now they got problems. Okay. So about 3 hours, maybe arguably 4 or 5 hours every month, you're 100% human. And the rest, you're being stifled by that genetic engineering that started thousands of years ago. So for me, the reason I'm able to talk to you about it is because I'm not here in real time. So I'm watching them cutting and pasting time, and this is why they're doing it. They're stopping you from recognizing your light body, a spirit, consciousness before your physical body. So they keep engineering these human vessels, knowing full well you're going to come back into them. So I'll start again. The fact that I'm here again 2,000 years later is your clue why there's so much aggression here now. So if I'm here, now's our time, because we're growing out of the soul trap. Anyway, I'll continue with my life. I wanted to make sure I got that out, but it is got a very happy ending. Don't worry. What else they could do with me is now with that summation. That was a very Cliff Notes version, if you will. What you can do with a human, and we'll use me as an example. You can now make another human, another being, and because my light body has such a desire to be here and participate and understand and learn what is going on here, how come everybody stays here for thousands of lives? Why don't they just go to another planet? As an example, most spirits have one life on a planet like this, and they go to another planet. You don't have to stay on the same planet your whole existence. As an example, it's normal for us to spread out. We're master creators, billions and billions of opportunities. By the way, notice no one's talking about the multidimensional planets in the alien agenda. That's because they can't get there. We're the only ones that. You never hear anybody talk about Bernardo as an example. I've spent lots of time with Bernardo, but that's because it's a higher dimensional planet. And so nobody, there's your clue. The Arcturians are good. Yeah, right. Palladians are good. Hey, the Pleiades is a massive place. I don't care for much of the Pleiades at all, but there are some outstanding individuals there. There's some outstanding planets. And look who gets the bad rep. Orion went through an incredible a very efficient ascension process several times now. And of course, they're the bad guys on the block. Not to say there's not bad guys there, but in any event, stay on topic there, Custer. Should have came up with a better name, huh? Anyway, here's what it looks like when they cut and paste. So they manage the clones factories, and here's one way they did it with me. So now they can have your Merkaba geometric relationship to you. So they basically, it's almost like taking a picture of the light when it comes in. They can see the geometry that you are and know what you will anneal to, for lack of a better word, in a physical body. In this case, I was punished more or less, but it's a double trick. I'm a double agent at this point. And they put me into a gray alien. But I've had many experiences of gray alien. But at one point, I'm in an alien body, and they used me since I was an expert at flying, driving. They put me in the Area 51 programs. And believe it or not, Billy, the co-host, she co-hosts with Jane, was the colonel commander of that base. And I taught Billy how to fly. Now, what's amazing is Billy's now getting his memories back and remembers it without me telling him. So Billy and I don't have a relationship on the physical plane until we probably we've never met physically, but we know each other very well We've probably known each other by these conference calls for about a year. Any event, that shows you how far ahead of the genetic mapping they are. They can cure any disease, by the way, and they're creating most of them. So I'm going to go back to the torture and what the CIA has that is endless, and the weapons they have are endless, and why this is such a unique, complex situation. When I've observed the torture chambers, for lack of a better term, they're actually just factories. They're manufacturing factories. Again, this is going to be tough information for a lot of folks, and this is happening. And you can thank your hardworking money going to some of these factories and systems. One of their favorite things to do is fill Olympic-sized swimming pools in series, a lot of them, and put living people in them while they're bleeding out. So I think we all know Olympic swimming pools are very large and very deep. And what they can do with that is, as the hundreds and hundreds of people are dying, what they'll do is they'll turn the heat up, and they can get the slurry they want for the death, the serums that they want to make the clones. So what you can do with that, let's say we have, so they can do it in volume in that respect. So you get all this trauma in a slurry, and then you put it in incubator tubes that are about 6 feet tall. And when the being is going through gestation, all it is ever eaten is epigenetic traumas. So they're filtering the minerals and byproduct of the trauma of the swimming pool full of people that are dying slowly and bleeding out at a temperature they prefer, and a slurry and a chemical solution that they put in there. So now the beings that they're making are now born with traumas and very, very dark energy. They can literally bring in an alien soul that's very dark and put them into a human being that runs around your society day in and day out. So as I do not joke about it, they're putting babies in blenders and making them congressmen. Okay, I'm sorry that that's the truth. And so what they're doing is they're taking your the consciousness of a human being and only giving it a very small portion, while the dark side inherits more of it. And that's why you see not only the hybridization, but you see very dark beings in a lot of prominent positions.